Happy October, everyone. Board now back with Rachel McDonald, and we're kicking the month off with a review of a bit of a cult favourite for some people, and that is a movie called Pumpkinhead from 1988, starring Lance Henriksen. A revenge horror movie in some ways, kind of be careful what you wish for type horror movie, in the sense then you've got the Lance Henriksen character who runs like a small town convenience store, and there's a random kind of hit and run with his son who gets killed in the hit and run ultimately, and you've got a bunch of kids who are like drunk. So he decides to try and get revenge on them, and he does this by going to an old witch. And it turns out then he doesn't want to heal the son. He just wants to bring him back. He wants actual revenge. And this manifests itself in the form of the Pumpkinhead monster of the title. We get a little bit of a backstory to that monster at the start of the movie. And things get out of hand. The monster goes on a killing spree, and it also becomes more and more human. So the Lance Henriksen character then, along the way, realizes maybe that wasn't such a good idea. I've got to try and put this genie back in the bottle. So that's the basic setup for Pumpkinhead. Now, I will say, did you notice who the director was for this?
I did, but then I missed, and then I forgot. Who is the director?
Okay, well, it's Stan Winston, who's
That's the one.
better known for being like a special effects guy. He was special effects guy on Terminator 2, on Aliens. He was also on Jurassic Park. Also the first Wrong Turn movie, so he's sort of stayed in the horror genre. But yeah, some really big special effects projects there. So this was his first proper movie as a director. As I said, Lance Henriksen is the big name in the cast. There's a few other faces I recognize as well. The one playing the hit and run guy, Joel, I've seen him on like TV in episodes. He's in an episode.
Okay,
Yeah, he's in an episode of Seinfeld. He plays the amusingly named Todd Gack, he's the guy who bet Elaine that Dustin Hoffman was in Star Wars. And
yeah.
yeah, well, Jerry speculates, and he's just doing it as like a bit of a dating loophole. It's like he did a bet he knew he would lose, so he can ask you out type thing. And he's also in actually a really good episode of Quantum Leap, one of my favorites. So he pops up here and there in like TV episodes. And there's a few other faces. I also noticed like Dick Warlock in a supporting role, and he, of course, played Michael Myers in the second Halloween movie. So it's another pretty notable. I think I might have seen him in other stuff as well, just because the actor looked familiar. He's like the old man at the start of the movie.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's the basic setup anyway. This was my first time watching it. I take it was yours as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what did you think of Pumpkinhead?
Pleasantly surprised by how much I actually enjoyed this movie. Because I had only vaguely heard of Pumpkinhead. It was one of those horror movies that, you just hear about when you are a horror fan, but I didn't really know anything about it. So before we watched it, I tried to watch a trailer, but the trailer was it was an 80s trailer, so it was very badly put together, didn't really give me anything to go on. So I was just kind of expecting like a little B-grade 80s horror, but no, I really liked this movie. First of all, Lance Henriksen is awesome. I thought was great in the lead. I thought that he was really, really charismatic and really drew you in. I thought that they really built up the bond between him and his son really well, so that when the son did die, you really felt that father's like grief and desperation, because their bond was so sweet and they had some really cute moments together. And
Mhm.
I thought that the atmosphere of this movie was really great. That opening scene where, it's in the 50s and like all the people are hiding in their houses and you can hear that there's something outside, that little introduction to, the Pumpkinhead legend. Those little redneck kids that we see briefly who do the Pumpkinhead will come for you, a little bit of exposition. That was fun. Apparently, one of those kids is a very young Mayim Baliak that most people will know from The Big Bang Theory and from Blossom.
Yeah, I
I
did
didn't see
notice
her,
her
but
name. Yeah.
yeah, she is one of those kids apparently. Yeah, I mean, I thought that Pumpkinhead as a bad guy was quite scary. When you get close up of the creature, maybe not so much, but I thought, some of the distance shots and some of the some of the more shots where he was like coming after the kids and where you would only see like the legs or the feet or him grabbing the kids and pulling them away. I thought that was really effective, and I actually thought it was really well directed for the fact that, I mean, I know this guy has been on film sets, but the fact that it was a first time director, I actually thought the movie was really effective. And yeah, I really like the look of it. That whole kind of small country town feel that they had,
Yeah.
and kind of this urban legend that permeates throughout this town. I really liked that angle. And then as we go into spoilers for the movie, I'll talk about it. I really liked what they did with the actual legend of Pumpkinhead and how it actually is tied to the person who summons it, and then how we got to that ending. Yeah, I thought it was a really, really fun, really good, and surprisingly sad in parts movie.
Mm.
I really enjoyed it. What about you?
Pleasant surprises because it did have a feel to it and did go in different directions that maybe I didn't expect. Because, I am a bit of a sucker for a little bit of like a good old fashioned revenge type plot.
Mm.
Also, some of the things this is doing, because I know what you're saying about you went in expecting like a B grade or B, and I think in some ways it is that, and I think it's unashamedly that, and I don't mind that because I had a good time with it doing that stuff, but like. Yeah, no, I get what you mean as well. There's also sweeter moments in there. There's also pretty good character arcs as well for some of the characters, which is quite surprising. So yeah, first time around for me on this one, I did quite enjoy it as well. I think there's a good spirit to it. Yeah, in a way, it does feel like it's, even though it's a horror movie and you think of it as being a very low budget, maybe like kind of violent type horror movie, I think it does have some of the spirit of like an adventure type movie, or like the sort of movie where like the characters ultimately band together. And I think in with that core of kids as well, like the teenagers, because like for a lot of the film, I guess it was only like the Joel character who was a little bit of a jerk, but then he had a bit of an arc as well. But like it was cool the way they banded together and later on worked with the Lance Henriksen character to like overcome this thing. So there was a good spirit to it. Like you, I also like the setting, like the Western type setting, small town vibes. I really like, when they're in like the cemetery, like the gothic type look of that, like the smoke and stuff really
Yes.
sort of gives you the feels for that kind of
Mm.
thing. So it was all really well done, that like the setting and things, and practical effects once again, which we've talked about so often. And yeah, there's definitely one or two, but I think overall the practical effects were really good, and it's a good looking monster. And you can sort of see different films a little bit in this. Like you can see a little bit like Jeepers Creepers in this. Maybe that was a bit like influenced by this. I'm not sure, but similar sort of vibes. I know this came from a poem as well, which is interesting.
Yes, I read
Yeah,
that.
you read
I
that.
would like to find the poem. Yes.
Yeah, I did read that. But
Mm.
yeah, you got a solid like cast of characters in there. I think my only two complaints maybe is I think it was a bit slow, like a bit too slow at times. Like I thought maybe it could have got to the thing a bit quicker than it
Okay.
did, considering it's the sort of movie than it is. Like I think it could have been a bit quicker getting to that stuff. And that's maybe a sign that maybe the characters weren't like so good then they could sort of carry it before that. Like I think the characters were solid. I would probably say maybe there was too many characters at times.
Well, all the teens, I think it was easy to kind of get them mixed up because and some of the girls looked quite similar, and then it was like, who are we with here and now? But I still think like some of the teen characters, like I really liked that when the accident happened, the majority of them were like really concerned. You know, they weren't like selfish, self-centered teens who just wanted to run off. Like the girls were crying, and one of them almost had a breakdown. You know, and they wanted to stay with the kid, and they're putting their jackets on him. It was really just the Joel character that was being an asshole at first, and then like you said, he gets a little bit of like a realization later, like where he's like, I've done the wrong thing my whole life, time to finally do the right thing. And then he tries to like go out and draw Pumpkinhead's attention, so even he got a little bit of redemption. But yeah, I do think with the teens, you maybe could have cut maybe one or two, but then again, I'm guessing they had so many teens so that they could have like a higher body count. So that's probably why there were so many characters. But there was one girl in particular I quite liked. One of the girls is like praying, and she's like, "Oh, God will save us." And then one of the other girls picks up a knife, and she's like, "Just in case God doesn't show." And I just thought that was a great moment. And I'm pretty sure she became like the final girl, or she survived to the end. That chick. So that was a fun bit. But I have to admit, I didn't find the pacing too bad with this. I mean, it's a short movie. It's only an hour and 30 minutes or something, and I thought it moved quite well. Just having so much fun with it.
Thought the kid looked like the one who died, the ones like he looked to me, and I don't know if you got these ads in Australia, but he looked like the Milky Bar kid.
No, I don't think we got those ads here. Okay, you'll have to put a little clip up on the screen.
Yeah. No, like advertising Milky Bars, and it's like a Western type thing, and the kid has speckles like the kid in this, and it's like says the Milky Bars are on me, like so. It's I don't think it is the same actor, because I think it would have come up when I searched him on Wikipedia if it was. But no, it's funny. It did look a lot like him. And I think also Lance Henriksen playing against type, that was a bit like, I think later on he gets to be quite hammy, which I quite enjoyed. But he is good actually, like, because he is playing a more straighter role than maybe he normally plays.
He plays more sleazy characters, or slightly morally ambiguous characters.
Yeah.
So it was fun to see him just kind of play like this kind of down to earth, just single father who just runs his store. And I thought he gave a really good performance. Like I really felt it. Like there was this one particular shot. It's when he's come and he's collected his child's body, and there is that one teenager who's been left behind, and the teen's like, "Can I help you?" And he just turns around and glares at him, and the kid's like, I think he says later, it looked like he wanted to kill me. And I remember when he did that, when he turned around, I was like, oh, whoa. I was like, yeah, this dude, he's not forgiving and he's not forgetting. And yeah, I just thought that Lance, he really brought, I thought he was really good in that role. And I thought the scenes where he went to the old lady's cabin, I thought she was a fantastic little spooky character.
Good, wasn't she?
Yeah. I also really liked how, she was very upfront. She was like, if you want to call this, there's going to be a price, that you have to be aware that you can't get something for nothing. And then I really like that little cryptic bit at the end where he's like, oh, the Lord will, or the devil will curse you. And she's like, oh, he already did. So it's like, there's definitely something going on with this lady. And so I thought those scenes are really good. And I thought Lance's, bringing the grief of the father and showing how he could be so desperate to bring forth this creature. And then I thought it was really interesting how they showed how the creature was linked to him, and that was the price, that physically he is actually linked to Pumpkinhead, and how he has to feel the murders and how he has to feel the kids' deaths. And I thought that was a really interesting and like slightly deeper angle to the movie than you might expect from a little B-grade film. I really liked that angle. I thought that worked really well and really made me feel for him as a character. Even though he's technically, brought forth this demon to kill these kids, you could really understand why and what his motivations were. And then you could feel his desperation as the movie went on, and he started to regret his actions and started to realize that he's done something that can't be undone. I thought that was a great little character arc and very surprising for a movie that I thought was just going to be a little B-grade film. And I understand what you say, but there's definitely moments where you're like, oh yeah, this feels like they're leaning into the B-grade great horror movie aspect. But I also think the film escapes that kind of title, that category quite a few times. And yeah, I really enjoyed the creepy lady. She was just great. She was fantastic.
Hans Henriksen plays sort of tortured quite well. Gets that across really well.
Yes. So what about Pumpkinhead as a creature? How did you find, like, did you like the design? Did you like the way they used the creature? What did you think of him?
Yeah, no, I did. I enjoyed this creature. Yeah, it's sort of a classic sort of monster, and quite, again, you've got like good fleshy sort of practical effects on him, and definitely some fun kills and some fun like moments of tension, because you had this one where like he sort of, or it instantly, like one of the girls was hanging over the cliffs, and like the image is, I think, of fire, so it's almost like this hell-like image.
Yeah.
And I really like that. And then also you had like the Henriksen character, like when he was when the monster had his like claws into another girl, and the Henriksen character was obviously living that sort of thing. But yeah, so you had some like a couple of good standout set pieces like that, because you also had the scene where the Joel character, he got the machete, didn't he? And like Pumpkinhead ended up like taking it off him, and then that's when he threw the girl at, like, over the cliff type thing.
Yeah.
And just, he just had a lot of power, the monster, and very
pretty
sort
scary,
of
I think. I also really liked that he was so big. You know, the impression I got at first was that he was supposed to be like, I thought, oh, is he human size? But then when you see him, you're like, no, he's like Demogorgon size. You know, he's big. And I really liked that there were a couple of shots where he'd be like holding the people, you know, just like holding them out. And it was like, oh my God, like this thing is terrifying. You know, it's huge and it's powerful and it's coming for you. And yeah, like I said, I think when it got a little bit close up, you know, it's a little bit, it's 80s, so you could see kind of that it was a bit of an 80s.
Yeah, it's a low budget movie. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. But some of the faraway shots, some of the shots where you just see its legs or you just see the outline of it coming, I thought that was great. And like I said before, I really liked that it almost has an urban legend feel to it. You know, the people of the town, they know about this legend. They know about Pumpkinhead. The kids sing the songs. And I like the repeat of the opening scene where the teens are like knocking on the door and the people inside are like, no, you can't answer the door. You have to he won't come for us. Pumpkinhead only comes for those that he's summoned for. But if you get in his way, then he'll take you down. So I just, you know, it's that kind of horror of almost like real life situations when someone's pounding for help on your door. Do you answer and put yourself in danger, or do you just shut the door and hope that it goes away? And so I really liked that angle. I think it brought a little bit more of like a terror and like a human type feel to it. Like, you know, it's not just that the monster's coming for you, it's that the humans are unwilling to help you because they know about the monster. So I thought that was very interesting. And I wonder if they play with that in the sequels. Probably not, but that could be an interesting angle, you know, that they could have worked through with the sequels.
Yeah, because I think there's one sequel, and then there's some which were made for TV or something.
I think there's at least 3 sequels.
Okay, and then comic books as well, I think.
Oh wow, okay, so they really they ran with it.
So yeah, it will be, because there's room with this sort of thing to like expand on that mythology a bit. It outlines the rules, but there's certain things you can do to play with those rules a bit and add to the mythology once they're outlined. So there is something about like this sort of setting, like Western type setting, and a small town where it can be like really eerie and sort of atmospheric, or just have a good look to it in a way, like a different kind of look, because I guess you're used to like, well, this was Canadian actually produced, but like you're used to like American movies being set in like big cities and things like that. So sometimes they can feel a bit samey because of that, but it was a nice little location. This one,
it was. I really liked the location, and I think the location really helped to elevate the movie and kind of bring in that kind of small town, creepy town, urban legend type vibe. And yeah, I think it really, really worked for the atmosphere of the movie. There was a lot of atmosphere in this movie, I noticed, like lots of great scenes at like smoke and light. Like you said, the scenes in the graveyard were particularly good. And some of the scenes later on when Pumpkinhead is like chasing them through the woods, I thought were really effective. Lots of shadow, lots of like really cool lighting, lots of atmosphere. I reckon if I had watched this movie as a child, it would have scared the crap out of me. Like I thought it was very well made.
Yeah, yeah, and like you said, because it's first time as director, so that's good because there's definitely like the direction's definitely solid. Because there are examples. Because I know Wally Pfister, who's like Nolan's regular like cinematographer. He did a movie like about 10 years ago, and it just wasn't very good. Like even though he's a really good cinematographer. I can't
it shows
remember.
that it can't always translate.
Yeah, and you've had in the past, you've had people who are cinematographers who clearly know how to like make a film look really like stylish and pretty, but like it doesn't always work. Definitely for a first time, because this was his proper, I think, sort of first time feature. So I think he did a pretty good job overall. And
yeah, I think so, definitely.
And also the ending, like I thought, was pretty satisfying with Lance Henriksen ultimately like sacrificing himself. That was
and
really
then the reveal that he becomes the next Pumpkinhead. I just thought that was so great. I thought that was such a great little hook, and I thought that was such a great little aspect to the legend. You know, that whoever summons him will then become the next one. Again, it just surprised me. I wasn't expecting something that cool to be in a movie that I was ready to write off. So I actually thought that ending was really, really cool. I really liked it.
Yeah. No, I agree. And like we said, it obviously set up some good stuff for the sequels, you know, which they could then play with, and definitely would be interesting to see what they do in the sequels. But yeah, there's a fair amount of stakes, you know, at the end. And as I said, I do like the arcs of the character. They have decent sort of arcs. And like we said, even the Joel character sort of comes around. Because I think for a long time he was frustrating me because he was
me too.
Like, even though it might be quite realistic, he just came off as a bit too blunt. And it was just bit hard to really care about him one way or the other.
Yes. Like when he was all like, "Oh, you know, this is my second offense and I'm going to go to jail." I'm like, "I don't care, man. Maybe you should go to jail." And then that bit where he like knocked out one of his friends and like stuffed him in a cupboard with like one of the other girls because they were opposing him, like all of that, I was like, that's no good. But then, you know, he started to reassess and everything. But I will admit, I was getting to the point where I was like, if this dude survives and the others die, I'm going to be pissed. So I was glad when he died. But though he did redeem himself a bit. But yeah, even having that little redemption arc for him, that was quite surprising.
Yeah, it makes us care a bit more when he does eventually die. And it's one of those things. I mean, even though he was reckless and like obviously it's tragic, at least if he owned up to it, because like these things unfortunately do happen. But like, you know,
it was an accident. You do see that very clearly in the movie. Yeah, it was a complete accident. No one was really at like fault. Like they were riding dirt bikes. The kid ran into the way. These things happen, you know. Kids are like rats. They just scurry around. They get in the way. So I totally get it. But you know, he was definitely pissing me off at one point. So I was glad that he got a little bit of a redemption and then got killed. But yeah, no, some decent character work in this movie. And again, very surprising.
It's pretty solid cast overall, and yeah, good movie. I think I can see why it is a little bit of a cult favorite.
Yeah, me too.
So, what would you rate Pumpkinhead?
I think I'll go with the. Let's see. You know what? I really, really liked this film. I think I'll give it an 8. Like, I really enjoyed it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
Yeah, like
didn't
I
see you
was
going
so
that high.
surprised. I don't
Mhm.
usually like 80s movies. I really don't like 80s horror that much. But I think just the fact that one, it was such a surprise. Like everything about it really surprised me. Two, I thought Lance
Mm,
Henriksen was so good in the title role. So not the title role, in the main role. Three, I thought Pumpkinhead was a great concept. I loved the urban legend aspect. I love everything that came up around it. And four, I had a lot of fun watching this movie from start to
okay,
finish. I didn't stop watching the screen. It was really, really fun. So
okay.
yeah, 8 out of 10 for me, I think. Really enjoyed it.
That's
What about
good. Well,
you?
I'm happy. And it's definitely another tick in my column in our ongoing debate. 80s versus 90s. So it's good. It's good. It's good stuff because of that.
Dear.
Well, okay, I'm not going to go as high, and I think maybe it's because it's a first time watch. Like if I watch it again, and I did it the other night on stream, and you're not always paying attention for all
Yeah.
of it, but like it is. I'll go 7. Like it is a
Okay.
good solid watch,
Yeah.
and I will rewatch it, and I think the score could go up, but yeah, that's where I am. I'll go with a 7. I think so. That's good. Yeah. So we both recommend checking it out. Pr-
Definitely.
Pretty easy to get hold of now. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. So yeah, and I guess at some point we'll probably do the sequel as well. At
I have a
least
feeling they won't be as good, but they could still be
probably
fun.
not.
So we'll see.
Yeah, there's still things they can do, like we said. So we'll have to see about the sequels. But yeah, so that's Pumpkinhead, and that's fitting because it's the first movie we're doing this month. So month-long reviews from us and lots of extra bits. We have a couple of commentaries planned. We also have a list planned at some point. So look out for all that stuff coming for the month of October, and let us know what you think of this movie and also what you've been watching. I mean, it's only the first day of October, but if you've watched anything, let us know in the comments. Like and subscribe as always. Share us out on social media. Support me for just $1 a month. Patreon.com/board now. There's lots of extra stuff going up on Patreon in October. I'm also planning on rolling out the memberships this month, so that will be a new thing. Fingers crossed. So some of that exclusive content will go onto the memberships as well. So yeah, look out for that stuff as well and support the channel as little as you can. So Rachel, if you want to promote your channel.
Guys, you can follow me, Rachel McDonald, video essays on movies and TV shows. I should have a video or two up for the spooky month, and my Tumblr and Instagram are now linked through YouTube. So come and follow me everywhere.
Okay, that's great stuff. Thanks, guys. Happy October once again, and we'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye.